What's up guys, welcome back to my channel Anime Fiction. I'm back with a new episode of Father of Naruto Conquer the Mysterious World Part 1, and if you did enjoy the video, give this video a like, and if you're new to my channel and like my content, subscribe and hit the notification bell for more crossover fictions. Now let's begin this new video.
Chapter 1. Oh man. I can't wait until tomorrow morning. Why can't they take the test now? Exclaimed one of four friends gathered in a private area of a restaurant. Takato Matsuki, 16, was the impatient young teen. He was a young man with fair skin, fair brown hair, and fair red eyes. He was dressed in a blue hooded shirt over a white t-shirt, long gray shorts, yellow wristbands, and green Converse sneakers. He also wore yellow goggles over his brow, which his father had given him. He came from an average household, and his parents managed a bakery, unlike his buddies, who came from powerful backgrounds. Takato, stop before Rika slaps our heads off, his friend Henry said with a giggle, too feeling high on excitement because something big was happening the next day for all of them. Henry Wong was a teen who was half Chinese and half Japanese, with tanned skin, short blue hair, and gray eyes. He was dressed in a zippered sleeveless orange vest over a black t-shirt, brown slacks, black socks, gray and yellow shoes with white soles, and white wristbands. He was usually a quiet guy, but that night was an exception. He stayed out of problems and fights.
He comes from a wealthy family, as both of his parents worked for the Digimon Research and Development Corporation. His two older brothers had been Tamers for a long time and had taught him.
He had more information than any other child, and the next day was just another typical event to him. It was the regulation, so he had to take the test despite the fact that the company already knew Henry was eligible. Hearing his comments, the young woman named Rika turned to face him. Henry shivered as he averted his gaze from the chilly stare. Rika Nonaka was a lovely young lady with fair skin, purple eyes, and ginger shoulder-length hair tied back in a ponytail with a blue hair tie. She was dressed in a white turtleneck, black shorts, and red sneakers. She was a tomboyish young lady with a cold demeanor. Her family had instilled in her the ability to remain cool and composed. Her parents were the leaders of a Digimon guild specializing on beast types, and she came from a traditional clan. Don't speak unless you have the spirit to own your words, Rika stated calmly as she drank cola and looked at the other resident of the room and the group's leader. There was no need to be so harsh, or were those words directed at me, Naruto Uzumaki said, turning away from the window where he had been contemplating life while watching the snowfall. He was a young man with fair skin, blue eyes, spiky blonde hair, and a pleasant demeanor. He made people feel young around him, despite the fact that he was old. He was dressed in an orange jacket, a white shirt, and black jeans, with a pair of glasses dangling from his shirt. He was the group's leader, and he came from a family of influential people. His parents worked for the Digimon police, while his grandpa led a strong guild. But that wasn't all. He was the 7th Hokage Naruto Uzumaki's reincarnation. He died as a result of his battle with a Shiki, draining all of his powers with Baryon mode. It burned through all of his chakra and karamas to give him the ultimate power boost. A Shiki perished, yet he won at the expense of his life. It was meant to be the end, yet he awoke in this strange world of digital monsters. It was meant to be a regular world, but 100 years ago the conventional and digital worlds collided.
People were intrigued by the appearance of digital monsters in the real world, and they were adored. But it wasn't long until the huge ones appeared, and soon something monstrous broke through a wormhole in the sky, landing in New York. The beast was massive, taller than the skyscrapers, and with a single roar, it erased the entire city from the map. That was not the end of it, as others came and began battling, causing more cities to vanish around the world.
Millions of people killed instantly, and by the end, half of the world's population had perished.
In these challenging times, a hero answered the call and fought for world peace with a squad of Digimon Tamers.
Takuya, the leader of the Ancients, merged with his mate to produce Alderman, the planet's strongest Digimon.
They killed the enemies and restored order with his team of powerful buddies. They began a new era, and institutions to administer it developed to maintain order. Tamers became normal, and Digimon were no longer frightening monsters to them. There was an organization where 16-year-olds could register and take a test to obtain a Digimon since they couldn't allow unqualified people to possess such powerful beings.
There existed a Digimon police force to keep track of all Digimon-related offenses. There were guilds that roamed the digital realm and competed in tournaments.
People liked seeing Digimon fights since they were so common. Things had become normal after 100 years, but not everyone had forgotten the terror, therefore there were Digimon haters.
Crime still persisted in this planet, and Digimons were now involved. Naruto and his friends reached the legal drinking age and decided to band together.
Rika rolled her eyes at his smile, which always made her heart melt. They were more than friends, but Naruto had yet to take her, which irritated her, especially because he treated her like a child.
I meant in general, if you think it applies to you, you might as well keep your words, Rika challenged, while Takato and Henry felt the want to flee. When Rika's rage reached a boiling point, she might become extremely violent, which was not uncommon these days. They'd heard her curse Naruto a lot, referring to him as a faggot, eunuch, or micro-penis. None of them anticipated Rika to say such words. She came from a noble family that may imprison her for such heinous behavior. It wasn't difficult to figure out what had happened. Naruto kept their connection clean, and she was ready to move on.
It made her feel weak and envious. She was scared he'd pick an older lady and was just playing house with her.
They couldn't figure out why he was doing it because his parents were liberal and his grandfather was a man-whore. Naruto was speechless. He was ancient, like 50 years old if you added both ages together. He didn't view Rika that way, but he didn't want to damage the child, so he let it happen.
He expected it to slide away, but Rika appeared to enjoy his old guy character. He was once again trapped in a scenario with a tiny girl following him. This was never going to end gently, especially with Rika's family on his tail.
It seems like trouble always follows me. Naruto expected Rika to be patient and powerful as always, but it appears he misjudged key aspects. It appears she was aware of his feelings that he didn't see her in that light, which raised concerns that he may select someone else. Naruto understood the feeling because he had been there previously, albeit he had no feelings for anyone at the time.
He was a free spirit who was mostly at ease. He had yet to consider such relationships, but Rika matured quickly and became interested in love.
He attempted to persuade her out of it, but she refused. It was no longer a childlike crush because it had grown into a deep longing over the years.
Naruto had known Rika and Henry since they were children due to family ties. Since the day they saw him fight, Rika's parents had been eager to make him their child's spouse.
Naruto had never concealed his talents and was the best martial artist anyone had ever seen. He was a well-known character, and everyone was keeping an eye on him.
He didn't mind the attention because it helped his clan grow to prominence because people saw the young lord as a powerful figure in the future.
Not only were his skills exceptional, but so were his intelligence and insight for a young man. Finally, there was his body. His muscular structure was superior to anyone in the human world. His body was far too powerful. In this universe, persons from tamer households were born with superhuman bodies, meaning their numbers were on par with Captain America or even Spider-Man. These stats improved after connecting with a Digimon, and the tamer gained access to a wide range of skills. It was the reason that children of a certain age were not permitted to enter into a contract with a Digimon and that people had to undergo exams. When things were unregulated, people made havoc. Regardless, Naruto's stats were extremely good, ranking among the highest for someone without a companion. This knowledge was already shared with the Digimon Association, which would have been an issue if he had appeared out of nowhere during the test. It boosted his popularity even more, and many people approached him to join their organizations. Naruto had even received an invitation from the Digi-Destined Guild, an elite Digimon organization with extremely powerful members, including mega-level Digimon.
Naruto declined because he wanted to live his life freely, and he had promised the kids that they would form their own organization. Despite this, Naruto was friendly with the Digi-Destined and even knew the leader's sister Carrie. Carrie was a lovely girl about Rika's age, and their relationship worried her. Naruto couldn't just brush Carrie off because that would be disrespectful, so he tried to reason with Rika, but it seemed it had gotten worse throughout the week because he had spent it with Takaru and his brother Yamato in the icy mountains, and Carrie and her brother Taichi had been present. To him, it was just a fun night out with his buddies, but Rika appears to believe Carrie was also interested in him, and he couldn't lie, it was true. Carrie was attracted in him, as were other older girls, but their sentiments were not as powerful as Rika's because she was the one closest to him. This could lead to her developing mental difficulties, Naruto was concerned, adding that it could lead to inferiority complex and high tension. This could divert too much of her attention and disrupt her mental process.
He had assumed Rika was emotionally strong, but this could have been a mistake. Naruto fell silent for a minute, and the lads were concerned for their safety since, while Rika was not violent against Naruto, she was clearly violent towards them. Time appeared to stand still in the room for a while as all commotion came to a halt before Naruto pulled back his chair and stood up. "Rika, come with me. You guys continue, and we'll be back in a moment," Naruto said, taking Rika's hand in his and drawing her up. She offered no opposition, and the expectancy in her eyes was palpable. Even the lads were beaming with delight. They were all great friends, and Takato had joined them when they were 8 years old, so he was quite close as well. When their pals were happy, it was good news, and when they were sad, it was awful news. They were in an unpleasant situation because the source of the ill feelings was also a friend, and the argument was well thought out. "Do you think they'll kiss?" Takato inquired, whispering into Henry's ear since he was afraid Rika would hear. "I certainly hope they can reach some sort of agreement. It's uncomfortable watching Rika act in this manner," Henry grumbled as he stood up and stared out the window. His attention was drawn to the current predicament. No one saw that coming. Cold Rika turning into that was completely unexpected, Takato said as he stood up and joined Henry in viewing the outside scene. They were silent for a minute before trying to divert each other with Digimon conversation. Rika and Naruto went silently side by side. They walked out of the restaurant since Naruto was unclear how things would turn out and didn't want to cause a disturbance. Naruto couldn't keep quiet for long as they went along the icy street, feeling the stare on him. People were playing in the snow in a tiny park next to the restaurant. "What do you want, Rika?" Naruto inquired gently. Rika tightened her grip on his hand and squeezed it. She maintained her customary calm demeanor and did not appear upset by the needless question. "I want you to show me that there is something between us," Rika replied truthfully. She was a confident girl with great talent and a rich background, but there was one thing she was unsure about. She had numerous grounds to feel that this was a one-sided situation. Naruto came to a halt distance from the people and they sat on a bench after clearing the snow, but more fell slowly. He knew his words had immense impact when he looked into her eyes. He'd known Rika for quite some time. It's beautiful and strong, and it'll only get better with time. Anyone would be delighted to have her undivided attention. He didn't sense any attraction, however. She was just a small girl to him. Even if he forgot he was still married, Rika was still too young. Regardless of his age, Naruto could sense something tugging him towards the female. For some reason, the rest of the world wanted him to take her. She wasn't the only one. Naruto had feelings for a few other females, and the only thing they had in common was that they were either powerful or had promise. It wasn't difficult to figure out what the other side want from Naruto. The being who reincarnated him desired that he produce powerful children with powerful women. But that didn't matter anymore since she was waiting for an answer, and the wrong answer could destabilize their team chemistry.
Naruto forced her to face him in the eyes by placing his palm on her delicate chin.
"Rika, I will not compromise with my emotions. I will only allow a true relationship.
You know that I don't love you in the way that you do. And I don't really love anyone at the moment. I have never really felt the attraction. However, I know that you are my type, so maybe I can definitely fall in love. So, why don't you fight and make me fall for you? Isn't this a show of weakness against your path? Otherwise, he'd have a harem before he died since so many women wanted to marry him or be his girlfriend."
Compromise was a cursed word, and Naruto despised it. All of his regrets were from sacrifices he made with others, which made his life tough and ruined his family life. He went from enjoying life to sinking into a dark hole of negativity.
Only in the final minutes did he begin to change, but it was too late, and he died before he could truly appreciate his life. Naruto could scarcely recall moments in his life when he was having fun. He had been depressed for the majority of his life, especially before meeting Jiraiya. Why are you acting like this? Rika couldn't comprehend Naruto's behavior. She had always thought he was exceptional, but she found his lack of response to her difficult to comprehend.
However, after hearing his correct response, she did not become emotional. At the very least, he finally took her seriously and told her anything. She was relieved to learn that he admired her personality in that way. But why didn't he fall in love with her? I don't know. Love isn't something you can control. It just happens, Rika. I don't think you wish to love me. It just happened one day and grew over time, isn't that right? You are such a know-it-all. You should at least speak less about this topic since you haven't fallen in love, Rika said, calmed down by his words, particularly his remark about her personality and Carrie. Rika saw Carrie as a competitor, thus she would never put herself on a lower footing. I like reading, so it's just something I read in a book. Rika took a deep breath and looked at him with a determined expression. Fine. I accept your words, but don't think I've given up. I'll make you fall for me, and no one will stand in our way. I'm not going to share you with anyone. Don't even think about it. Rika caught him by the collar and announced her intent, leading him to smile. It was her normal self-assurance and determination. Ha ha ha, I like that. Let me see what you can do. Naruto hugged her and laughed. The night passed peacefully after that, and the squad had averted their first catastrophe. After spending time with his pals, Naruto drove back home on his Harley-Davidson V-Rod after leaving Rika off at her house, where she insisted on kissing him on the cheeks in front of the gate, knowing her parents would notice. She was obviously a sneaky female who was making sure he didn't break his word. Naruto found it humorous rather than frustrating. It was the first time in these circumstances that someone had been so calculated with him. He could see Hinata and Hanabi doing something like this if Hinata wasn't broken and cold like her tribe, and if Hanabi had liked him when they were younger. When he became Hokage, such games became impossible because he owned the world, and unlike the previous Hokage, he didn't have to consider anyone's point of view because he could kill everyone on his own. Regardless, Naruto was excited since his new journey was about to begin. Even though he was qualified, he was unable to migrate to the digital world due to the rules. Naruto understood the logic and did not create a fuss, instead enjoying the human world. He had led a peaceful life but had gotten into conflicts with criminal gangs, albeit he avoided the strong ones. Aside from that, there was travel, games, sports, friends, and training. All Tamers in training went through a curriculum that taught them about the future, how to care for their Digimon, and how to capture Digimon. Because of the snow and the hour, the travel home was pleasant, with no traffic. The city had altered dramatically and was now populated with holograms, drones, and other sci-fi elements. The world has advanced significantly, but the Uzumaki household remained largely conventional. It was a huge region with traditional Japanese houses, ponds, and gardens. The entire family resided in the same neighborhood, and the clan was extremely wealthy due to their ownership of shares in digital development companies. The clan also has its own tournament team. They published books as well as comic books. They owned hospitals and pharmaceutical companies. Finally, there was the dojo, which was used for martial arts and Digimon training. When all of that was added up, the Uzumaki family was one of the wealthiest in the world, which meant Naruto had met a lot of wealthy people. Welcome back, Naruto-sama. I hope you had a good outing today. Naruto was greeted by his personal maid as he parked his bike in his personal garage among his other bikes and cars. Hildegard, often known as Hilda, was a stunning young lady with lustrous blonde hair that covered one side of her face and was generally wrapped in a bun, forest green eyes, and a big bosom. Instead of the lengthy dress, she wore mostly stylish and maid attire that came to her knees. Her speech was respectful and calm as she greeted him and grabbed his jacket and helmet and placed them in their proper places. I'm back, Hilda. Everything went well on the outing. How about the residence? Anything I should know? Naruto inquired as he approached the front door and paused for Hilda. She finished in a flash. She, like Naruto, was unique. Hilda was a hybrid or new type. She was the offspring of a human and a Digimon. Hilda's ancestors were evil, hence one of her parents was a dark Digimon. This meant Hilda was part Digimon and a powerful being that, most of the time, not even mutants could compete with. She was born with high numbers and dark talents, but she seems to have lost her parents before being discovered by Naruto's uncle, Darui. Hilda was not the only one, since the Uzumaki clan had several maids, including other new types. The other two maids having dark Digimon parents were Ruri and Morrigan, whereas the head maid Roberta had Machine Empire parents. The new types were obliged to wear a suppressor on their body because they were powerful beings with deadly powers that could compare to champion-level Digimon in most circumstances. It may be a collar, a bracelet, or a ring. The user chose.
This managed the person's power and gradually freed it. Once the person enrolled and completed the test, it was fully opened. Naruto was a mutant or advanced human, a phrase used for tamers and children of tamers whose bodies transformed as a result of their link with the Digimon or by themselves when massive energy waves occurred.
All mutants possessed superhuman abilities and some even obtained superpowers before meeting a Digimon. A mutant without a Digimon, on the other hand, would never win against a tamer with a champion Digimon. There was a gap in power between champion and rookie. Mutants were typically in the middle of the scale, while new types were mostly in the champion range. Naruto was the exception among the mutants, as he was similar to the top new types. Even though people had a lot of power, it diminished when they weren't fighting. Tamers shared stats with their Digimon partners, therefore finishing the Digimon before attacking the tamer was preferable. Outside of battle, most tamers would not be at peak capacity due to stress, allowing weaker people to take them out. Hilda stood behind Naruto and fixed her gaze on him. She chose to serve Naruto when he was only 2 years old and she was 7. She had recognized his uniqueness and chosen to follow him. She had trained with dedication and earned the world's esteem as a formidable tamer. She was content with her current lifestyle and enjoyed working as a maid for the young master. He had proven to be amazing, just as she had suspected. It was such a shock that no one in the clan could defeat him in combat, implying that no one in the world could face him without their Digimon. He was wise beyond his years and exceptionally nice. People who were blessed like him usually turned out terrible, but Naruto demonstrated otherwise. She had been taking care of him and followed him about since he was a child. When he grew into a gorgeous young man, his adoration for the young master seemed to transform into love. She now recognized him as a man, not a child she was going to follow. Hilda loved him, but she didn't express it and didn't care about being in a relationship with him. She was content to stay as his maid and would be delighted if he expressed an interest from time to time. If she asked for more, she felt she would be going too far. Master Menma appeared to have come across the Bagra army on his mission and escaped with the help of the Phantom Thieves. He was just talking about owing a favor to Joker before realizing that the thieves had swiped his treasures. He is in the gym venting his rage fighting against Ruri. Hilda replied clearly, causing Naruto to chuckle at the scene that was painted. He had a 2-year older brother named Menma, who resembled him save for his black hair and red eyes. He also had a younger sister, Rias, who was named after his mother. The Phantom Thieves, on the other hand, were a nefarious guild that stole from everyone and were wanted by the Digimon organization. Nobody had caught them, and most people thought they dwelt in the digital realm, but there had been targets in the human world to dispel that myth. They appeared to avoid the system, implying that they had a powerful hacker on their team to keep them hidden or the system would capture them when they entered the digital world or returned to the human world. He wasn't in real danger, was he? Naruto wondered as he proceeded towards his room, knowing that everyone else would have gone to bed by now and he had already eaten. According to the master, he could have gotten away with a little trouble because it was just a scout group and the commanding office was nowhere to be seen. Naruto nodded, feeling better about it. He would have been concerned if Menma had ended up in a risky scenario. The Bagra Empire was one of the most powerful forces in the digital world, and they were determined to conquer all areas. The Royal Knights did not intervene because they followed the laws, but the army had slaughtered every human they came across. Bagra despised humans, just as some human groups despised all Digimon. "That's good, have you eaten, Hilda?" Naruto inquired, as she sometimes waited for him to return home so they could eat together. Fufufu, was young master interested in eating together? "My apologies, I had a meal with my sisters." Hilda covered her mouth with her hand and laughed briefly. She was formal, but she enjoyed getting to know people. Naruto was aware of her emotions since, like in the past, he had acquired the empath talent in this world. Most of his talents would return in full form after he became a tamer, and even go higher if he got his partner to higher levels. There were Digimon who made his prime appear to be fodder. "Yes, I was thinking about accompanying you to dinner," Naruto responded calmly, a smile on her lips. She was overjoyed by such a simple gesture. Then I'll make room for the young master. All right, let me take a shower and I'll meet you in the dining room, Naruto said, turning around to look at Hilda, who was shorter than him now that he had grown to his full height of 1.9 meters, tallest in the family except for Roberta and Darui. The night passed quietly, and Naruto spent his final hours before going to bed with Hilda, as well as Morrigan and Ruri, who crept into his room after a time. Naruto was the most popular member of the Uzumaki clan, and everyone wanted him to be the clan's leader. Naruto had no such ambitions. He had once chained himself and did not intend to do so again. It would also jeopardize his bond with Menma, the Uzumaki clan's lawful successor. The seat was inherited and prepared for by the eldest. Naruto would be utterly despicable to just tread over his life like that. Naruto was constantly superior, which gave Menma a headache and made him fearful. If Naruto had been a child, this would not have ended well. Menma may have tried to kill his brother out of desperation, but Naruto was a wise grown-up who stayed close to his brothers and helped them. Menma adored Naruto, and the two were practically best friends. Naruto had taught him how to fight and sparred with him numerous times. One of Naruto's everyday activities was sparring with family members in order to assist them enhance their skills while staying sharp. He'd learned his lesson and resolved never to let calm weaken his fighting spirit again. Naruto awoke at 5 o'clock as usual, as he didn't require more than 3 hours of sleep like most people. He'd even gotten to the point where he could be fully rejuvenated in half an hour, but he liked sleeping, so that was that. After a full-speed run around the compound, Naruto returned to the gym and trained as normal. He was joined by other family members as well as the guards. It was a typical Uzumaki clan morning routine. Naruto pushed his body to its limits in the gym, using equipment designed for advanced tamers rather than beginners. Without employing chakra, his physique could easily handle 100 tons. It wasn't anything spectacular in his opinion, but others didn't. He could outrun the wind and approach the speed of sound without consuming chakra. It was a feat that no mutant could accomplish alone. Naruto practiced control and usage with his chakra after the workout. His chakra levels had plummeted to normal Chunin levels, but he had more than adequate control. It was also a temporary situation because he would acquire the boost if his partner reached mega level, which would draw him back to his normal level. Even with his low chakra level, he was still too dangerous for his age. Naruto could utilize the gentle fist, open the 8 gates, use the chakra scalpel, genjutsu, transformation, substitution, body augmentation, weapon enhancement, elemental control, and even Tsunade's strength of 100. Naruto was still a very dangerous being even without his regular levels, and the association had already assigned him a rank. Naruto was assigned as a D-level tamer without a Digimon, and his ranks progressed from F to S. Following the chakra training, Naruto sparred with everyone for a while before going to wash off before eating breakfast. Naruto had been homeschooled since the age of 6, which was fortunate because new types were subjected to a whole new system in which they had to mature faster in order to grasp their talents. Abilities emerged around the age of 3 or near to it. Naruto came from a clan, thus they didn't want him wasting time at school when they had all they needed at home. The same was true for Henry and Rika. But Naruto argued against it, and the kids ended up having mental health training together. Takato and a few other pals benefited from Naruto's actions as well. After eating his breakfast, Naruto rode out of the house, accompanied by his servants and family. There was no fanfare because they weren't concerned. They were all aware that this was really a formality. They'd have a party once they found out what Digimon he got. "Are you guys ready?" Naruto said as he and his crew approached the Digimon Association's entrance. The association building was stunning and took up a considerable amount of space. The sculptures of the world's 10 heroes, the Ancients, stood at the entrance. It was the most powerful Digimon group from 100 years ago to the present day because they were nearly eternal at this point. The majority of them were from Japan, while the others were from the United States. These were the reasons for humanity's survival and ability to coexist with Digimon. They were powerful enough to bargain with the Royal Knights, and Earth was considered their domain. The Ancients were divided into regions around the world to safeguard them from any harm. They ruled over enormous territories in the digital world as well, albeit their main territory was in the ancient sector. They were unable to enforce their regulations in other areas and need authorization from the rulers to avoid fights. Nonetheless, they allowed humans to be represented on the gaming board rather than being viewed as disposable pawns. Naruto was eager to meet them and learn about their lives. He also wanted to fight them. He was a calm individual, but fighting was in his blood. "Ooh, I'm ready. Let's go, I'm so pumped." Takato couldn't stop himself. He was the team's weakest link because his parents were bad tamers and operated a bakery. He was fortunate that his friends took him in and helped him become better than he would have otherwise. Takato came from a poor family, yet he was incredibly gifted and took to fighting with ease. He was just interested in passing the test and ultimately meeting his ideal partner. The Digimon Association's Hypnose system enabled the Tamers to find their ideal partner, albeit whether or not that happened depended on how much work they put in. Normally, Henry would try to calm him down and Rika would scold him, but today there was no such thing as they all felt it. Takato spoke for all of them today, and they were too shy to do the same. Naruto grinned as he saw the sight, which reminded him of his joy on his first mission. "Let's go before Takato gets too excited," Naruto grumbled as he took Rika's hand in his and proceeded inside. The AI greeted them inside and took them to their destination, as they all had appointments. They were separated, and Naruto entered a completely white, empty room. It was the first test, and Naruto noticed his surroundings changing as he seemed to float above a hilly terrain. Two massive Digimon battled over the mountains. Can you identify the Digimon and its evolution line? Which Digimon will triumph? Naruto was asked a question like this, and he answered it with ease. Over the years, he had gone over the database and remembered everything. Various situations continued to emerge. How do you catch this Digimon? What's the matter with this Digimon? How did this Digimon become this? What is the most effective approach to defeat this Digimon? What is the ideal gear for this terrain? What is your objective? Naruto took a short rest outside another room after finishing the test. While Naruto awaited his combat test, the head of the Digimon Association, Uzumaki, and his wife and secretary Rika kept an eye on him. Tamer trainees were generally observed by regular personnel such as Naso-ri and Yu Suk-young, but Naruto and his crew were unusual enough that top personnel were there. Kim Mi-young, the team's leader, had been informed in advance, and she contacted the head once Naruto emerged. It was a crucial event that would help them pick their next moves. According to the Digimon that a tamer received, the association treated them differently and attempted to keep them on their side. It also made them realize whether the tamer required their protection, since no one wanted to lose a good tamer. Criminal gangs frequently ambushed tamers with tremendous potential, and it was difficult to assist them from afar in the digital realm. How was his health checkup? Mitsuha inquired, his gaze fixed on Naruto on the television. He was in his 30s and dressed in a black suit. His face was frigid, and his voice was quiet. He was a really nasty and persistent individual. He was one of the most tenacious leaders of the Digimon organization around the world. Reika's presence saved him from going too far and breaking people's minds. Failure was something he despised like the plague. Rules and restrictions governed him. He was fair and performed a good job. Mitsuha had met Naruto when he was a child, yet his presence never seemed to fade. I don't think the youngster has changed at all. Mitsuha had seen a lot, but this was new to him. He was extremely intuitive, therefore he never questioned his feelings. Naruto's presence had not changed in any way, and his strength had improved significantly, well above their expectations. He had been paying attention to the reports, and Naruto had broken all previous records. "Sir, is he really human?" Naso-ri inquired, displaying the findings of the checkup on the screen. She had seen it for the first time since Young was in charge of Naruto reports. She had short golden hair and a stunning appearance. She was Korean, and she was very proud of her appearance. She had been working in Japan for 2 years due to unforeseen circumstances. She was a proud woman who wanted everyone to admire her appearance and elegance. She manipulated the men around her to obtain gifts. While working at the association, she intended to entice a strong man. Nonetheless, she was industrious and did not jeopardize her work reputation. Despite Mitsuha's harsh criticism, she was aware of him and would not dare to jeopardize her life. Her inquiry was reasonable because the answer was not one that a human could provide. Naruto was the top new type rookie, and he was far too powerful for a non-tamer. He is a mutant among mutants, Kim Mi-young said with a broad smile. She had been following Naruto's performance and potential from the day he was initially examined. She was a low-level bureaucrat at the time. Naruto symbolized numerous possibilities. Right, he's a mutant among mutants. You're watching a new breed of mutants, and this could be the norm in the next generation, Mitsuha said as he nodded in agreement to Mi-young's statements. This was the other reason for his fascination. Naruto's mutation was an isolated event, but it's possible that it will happen in big numbers the next time. They hadn't even figured out why it happened. Naruto's birth was nothing out of the ordinary. There was no Digimon battle nearby. There is no digital aurora in the sky. There were no royal knights or high-ranking officials around him. Change his rating to C rank, Mitsuha grumbled after witnessing the duel, which was so one-sided that they felt sorry for the Digimon. They were all so taken aback that it took them a few moments to process what he was saying. Naruto entered the new chamber, which turned out to be a digital pocket realm. The terrain was grassland with a river nearby, and a champion-level Digimon stood there. The test would normally place a rookie, but they felt it was unnecessary. Naruto was dressed in gray armor that covered his entire body but didn't restrict his movement and made him feel as if he wasn't wearing it. He had smoke bombs, poison bombs, grenades, time bombs, an electric whip, an electric spear, and a plasma rifle at his disposal. Champion-level Digimon could swat anti-tank bullets away like they were nothing. They were faster than the speed of sound. They could easily lift more than 100 tons. They were capable of destroying massive structures with a single attack. Leomon was the Digimon Naruto encountered. Leomon was one of the most proficient champion-level Digimon, despite being in the center of the strength scale. The lion gazed at Naruto while Naruto looked at the opponent. The battle began, and Naruto opted to confront him without weapons at first. Leomon was not the type to have fun. He drew his dagger and charged towards him at full speed. He flew past the speed of sound and aimed for his throat. Naruto watched him move normally in his eyes, and by using chakra augmentation, his body became stronger to battle the attacker. Naruto snapped Leomon's fingers with a well-placed punch, causing him to yell in pain and drop the blade. Naruto followed the blow with a kick to the abdomen. Before the kick landed, Leomon stepped back and growled, utilizing his energy to stun Naruto with the sound blast. Naruto effortlessly countered the strike with mild wind manipulation and hurled the blade at Leomon while wrapping it in chakra. Leomon was driven to attack since he thought the dagger would follow him even if he avoided. Roar the Beast King's fist. Leomon used his energies to launch a lion-shaped energy assault at the dagger, but both strikes were nullified. Don't act shocked. That wasn't anything special, Naruto grumbled as he closed the gap between them, and Leomon felt a punch strike his midsection. The blow threw him into a nearby river and broke his ribs. This was not a strong champion, only a beginner champion, but Naruto easily defeated it without even using weapons. Leomon stepped out of the water and stared fearlessly at Naruto. Leomon, clenching its fist and watching Naruto walk around nonchalantly, became enraged and resolved to use his ultimate moves. Barrage of the Beast King's fist. Leomon shouted and punched in despair, releasing many lion-shaped energy blows at Naruto. Naruto was unconcerned, tossing a kunai into the heavens and substituting before launching another at Leomon before the beast realized its death. The kunai shattered the sound barrier with ease but failed to pierce Leomon's head and became lodged. Such a thick skull, but I would be cautious if I were you, Naruto said as he walked on air, and an explosion occurred as a result of his remarks. Naruto had planted time bombs and exploding seals on the kunai. The explosion shook the building, but Leomon survived. It was bleeding from its injuries and had a noticeable skull fracture. Its eyes had melted as a result of the explosion, and it yelled out in pain. Man. I really don't like doing such things, Naruto said, closing the gap between them, and the beast fell silent with a single tap to its heart. The test was terminated when the heart exploded. While Naruto's struggle began, the other three began their own. Rika strode into the wooded zone, calm and cool, with the armor, support weapons, and a gun in her hand. She couldn't see the enemy, but she recognized it as a new Digimon. For normal and advanced people, the test always utilized a rookie Digimon. Rookie Digimon were stronger than typical creatures, but humans with the right tools could usually defeat them.
Certain Digimon were stronger than Mega-level Digimon in their rookie phases, but no human owned them and no one would put them to the test.
The test used various sorts of rookie Digimon and varied their power level according on the candidate. The exam merely required them to defeat the typical rookie Digimon because that is what most new Tamers face, but for the heroes, it had been adjusted to higher levels as requested. The youngsters had requested powerful rookie Digimon to let them learn their true level of power. Rika's attention was on the task at hand, and her senses were on high alert. She didn't think about anything but her goal. Rika was an advanced human, which meant she was extraordinarily strong and has other powers. She possessed keen senses and a keen awareness of danger. She could also alter and harden objects. She could manipulate the bullets with the gun, causing them to ignore the conventional course of action. Boom! Rika rolled to the side as a metal ball smashed through the trunk of the tree behind her. Rika focused onto her target's location and sensed tremors from the ground. She shot without stopping while moving and there was a purple flash. The bullets began to fire as they approached the target. The purple thing moved quickly through the trees, spinning around and shooting metal balls towards Rika. Rika managed to avoid all of the strikes, but she lost the creature since it had caused the trees to burst, obscuring her vision. She couldn't hear the hunter since it was silent. Rika came to a halt as she launched a flash and smoke bomb at the area. When the smoke and light exploded, the metal wire on her body began to move, forming a maze to catch her prey. She was spared from the flash by using her visor to see through the haze. She witnessed the thing descend from the sky as it became disoriented by the light. It landed on the cables, which coiled around her target, Doraemon, with a command. Rika was ready to complete the goal when she became aware of the danger and leapt back as an energy wave exploded around the beast, destroying the iron cables. Doraemon hissed angrily and hurled a volley of metal balls towards Rika. Doraemon was a beast-like Digimon with purple fur covering the majority of his body. It had 2 huge legs, 2 arms with 3 black claws apiece, and a large, vulpine tail. It had white fur on its chest, paws, snout, and tail tip. It has 2 little black wings and 2 pointed ears with black stripes. A triangular red jewel adorned its brow. Rika dashed to the side, switched her pistol for a shotgun, and unleashed powerful explosive blasts that twisted around the beast or just passed through the bombardment of iron balls. Boom, boom, boom! The continuous explosions had stopped, and her prey was no longer alive. Rika went forward without hesitation, slashing the downed beast with her short blade, severing its neck. That maneuver marked the end of the test. Takato strolled on the sand as he arrived at the beach. He was also dressed in the conventional armor provided by the organization, but he had chosen his own colors, red and blue. He came from a poor family among his friends, but Takato never thought anything of it. He adored his family and his friends. He never felt envious. He was only motivated by a desire to achieve and compete. He was obsessed with Digimon and would spend hours playing with them at his residence or elsewhere. His parents owned a Greymon and a Golemon, but both Digimon kept in their rookie phases the majority of the time because they were too huge and would get in problems with the police. Takato admired the bond Tamers shared with their partners and wished to experience it for himself. He also liked the Royal Knights since they were so amazing. He wanted to meet and speak with them. He intended to draw them from a close distance. That was his desire, and he would have to work hard to get it because Royal Knights do not meet with weaklings. Takato was determined to go there, and by doing so, he would have become a very significant man in the world, and he would no longer have to worry about his life. Regardless, his parents were doing well since his friends assisted them with the business, and his family now owned a few branches throughout the city. Takato owed them a huge favor, so he resolved to assist them even if it meant putting his own life in peril. "Let's see what we have here," Takato murmured as he wandered about nonchalantly, paying little attention to his opponent. He walked casually on the beach, looking about for his hidden antagonist. He held an electric baton in one hand and a pistol in the other. Takato specialized in close combat and was the group's offensive force, while Rika was speed and traps and Henry was the skilled brains. Takato whistled as he pointed the gun and fired erratically. The unexpected disturbance disturbed the peace and prompted the hidden enemy to act. Takato was almost hit by 3 water bullets, but he dodged them masterfully. His ability was a 2-meter barrier that allowed him to sense anything that touched him and his body to react accordingly without any conscious orders. It was the result of his hard work, as he had to teach his body to remember such things. Takato identified his target while avoiding the onslaught. It was Gomamon, and it wasn't leaving the ocean. Gomamon was a white, furry sea lion, Zalaphus californianus, with no nose and long ears, purple markings, an orange-red mane, big claws, a short tail similar to a sea otter, in Hydra lutris, and a W-shaped smile with 2 sharp teeth protruding.
Takato gave a vocal order to his armor, and it fired an electric bomb into the sea near the foe. However, the Gomamon attacking him was an experienced warrior, not a rookie. It was a strong rookie, and it could tell Takato had evil intentions for it.
The water surged with a swing of its tail, and a massive wave slammed into the shore. It was carrying Takato's explosive, which exploded when it came into touch with water.
Takato effortlessly avoided the huge move and walked away, contemplating and humming. His opponent had the advantage on the field, but in the end, he was simply a rookie. "Should I play with you the hard or easy way?" Takato said with a smile, considering going into the sea and fighting it up close or attacking it from a distance. Takato put the rifle away and tossed a flash bomb, but the beast dove into the water. Takato smiled as he raised an eyebrow at its action. This wasn't the genuine Digimon, but rather a program designed to fight them.
Or he doubted a Gomamon would fight him because it was a benign species. Takato caught the explosives with his hand on his leg and tossed them at the target like a pro baseball player. Boom! His bold act caused continuous explosions and disrupted the sea. Takato leapt near to the water and walked even closer after it stopped. While little balls leaked out of his armor, his baton twirled in his fingers and he moved closer without stopping, intending to delve deep into the water for his rival. Takato felt it and jumped as a giant octopus tried to take him into the ocean. Gomamon had escaped with just minor injuries thanks to its water barrier and leadership of a sea creature.
Takato dived into the sea in surprise as one of the balls detonated on order. Takato locked on to his target and released a hook that snagged and reeled Gomamon in.
Takato struck the beast in the head with the baton without hesitation. Takato had dodged all of the blows rather than blocking them with his barrier, and had even taken his own attacks, the force building up and being unleashed by his attack. As the strike fractured its head, there was no hope of survival. Henry entered a factory, where he could hear the machinery roaring and smell the oil. It was a noisy environment, and it was one of the locations where machine Digimon could be found. Henry was calm and serious as he assessed his surroundings. He was dressed in conventional armor and had a spear in one hand. Because of his heritage, he concentrated in martial arts, although his true talent was in technology. His mutant powers included enhanced vision and computer manipulation. He was made for developing new digital weapons and the like. He was the group's scientist, while Rika was the assassin and Takato was the group's defense and offense. Except for Henry, Naruto was their leader and specialized in all of their disciplines. Naruto was the strongest, and none of them could take him seriously. They were content to remain under his command and anticipated a bright future as a team with him. He was a terrific leader, and even the adults applauded him. Henry and the others felt compelled to work harder in order to catch up to him. It was unpleasant to be carried. Henry was the group member who enjoyed inquiry and adventure. He didn't enjoy fighting. His ambition was to become the world's most powerful creator of digital equipment, or at least one of them. His field took data from the digital world and programmed it to do what they wanted with it. It was a difficult and dangerous procedure. When not done correctly, it has resulted in dangerous events. Regardless, Henry adored it and made it his life's work. Looking about, he engaged the sonar and spotted his target as it launched a retaliatory attack. As Henry caught the attack and charged his weapon while keeping an eye on his target, lightning hit the spear tip. It had been a Kakuwamon. It was a robotic Digimon with 4 arms with hand clamp like Shayla on the first pair and plugs on the second pair. Its head is shaped like a taser, and it has shoulder plugs. On its back were 2 metal wings. The brachium of its initial pair of arms and thighs were red. He had anticipated a metal type and was not startled. Since lightning attacks would only help the enemy, Henry utilized his powers to modify the settings on his equipment right away. Henry activated his super perception and added the flame trait. He didn't want to squander his time because he didn't have much. The adversary flew towards him, its head aimed at his chest. It was quite fast, and most people would struggle with it.
It almost breached the sound barrier, but Henry kept his eyes open and quickly prepared for the attack.
Positioning his spear and releasing floating explosives in a different direction, Henry leaned down and struck the enemy on the chest with his spear, causing a flame explosion that catapulted it into the air where the bombs were waiting. Kakuwamon released a lightning discharge, but it was obscured by explosions, and Henry caught it with a whip. He dragged it down with force, slammed it into the ground, and closed the gap while he took out a bomb and placed it on the dazed target's chest. Jumping back, Henry ignited the bomb while holding the shield he had been carrying on his back. The war was done with that. In the digital realm, Henry may be a more dangerous antagonist than Rika and Takato. All three of them were excellent in their own right, and the battle might go either way. To be continued.
That's it for this part, guys. Thanks for listening to this video. I hope you did enjoy this part of the story, and if you did, like, share, and subscribe for more, and thank you all for helping support, and have a great day.